Today on Larry King Now, acclaimed American Horror Story and American Crime Story star Sarah Paulson. It's so well done. You have to agree with that, yourself included, but it's so well done.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I have not seen it. I know from reading it that that's very good because
Why?
I was there. This is sort of the first time in my life where I have ever felt really embraced as an actor from a performance that I've given, and I'm one who is very likely to sort of pick everything apart and very self-critical, so I figure I should just let myself enjoy this. Doing that last episode was, the finale was, you know, we shot everything sequentially, so by the time we got to the end and we were doing that episode where the verdict comes in, we were all of us, Johnny, you know, Sterling K. Brown, who plays Darden, and Courtney Vance, who plays Cochran, we were all just sort of looking at each other going, this is quite a ride.
I'm told you do a great impression of Holly Hunter. Will you do Holly Hunter?
Larry, gosh, yeah, I mean, I'll do it right now.
Plus,
she's amazing. I don't have enough words. But it's very difficult to watch someone be you know, because especially in the context of this trial. So I know she's getting it right. I know she's really doing it. But because she does it so well, I'm re-experiencing all of the pain. I'm watching her experience what I experienced.
all next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Our special guest, I look forward to this, Sarah Paulson, the two-time Golden Globe and four-time Emmy-nominated actress who is revered by her colleagues and fans alike. Sarah has received critical acclaim for her embodiment of Marcia Clark in the hit drama series The People vs. O.J. Simpson, American Crime Story, a role she played while simultaneously shooting American Horror Story Hotel. How did you do that?
It wasn't easy. I was tired.
Were you doing morning, afternoon, night?
No, it was sort of like 3 days on, and then 1 day at Horror Story, and 4 days as Marcia, and then 2 days as Sally. It was on the same lot, so I was able to sort of take a golf cart from one corner to the other.
Same hair?
No. Very, very different hair. It was sometimes the only way I could identify who I was playing.
My scenes, Hemingway directed me. He
yeah,
directed
Anthony.
half the episodes.
Yeah.
And Murphy did yours, right?
Murphy did my, you know, the Marcia-centric episode, yeah.
What's special about it? Murphy and you are attached at the hip.
Yeah.
What's special about him?
Oh, God, where do I begin? The thing I love about him most is that he's a real visionary, I think. And he, for reasons that are still mysterious to me, has decided that he wants to bring me along with that vision of his, and I've never really sat down and asked him why he decided to take a chance on me, because the first time I worked with him was on Nip Tuck, and then I worked with him, I did 3 episodes of the first season of Horror Story, and then I jumped to having a leading role in the second installment of the show, and I don't really know how he made the leap from 3-episode arc to now I get to play Marcia Clark. So.
You were 19 during the trial, right?
I was.
Did you follow the trial?
I followed it in a sort of cursory way. I was beginning my acting career in New York, and I just graduated from high school not long before, and so I was watching it, but not in the way that some people were, in a very rabid way.
How do you explain to yourself 20 years later the massive appeal of this, that even 20 years later, this is the #1 show on television?
You know, I think it was the same reason that the verdict ended up being what it was, the confluence, the perfect storm of it all. The climate of the city, post-Rodney King, O.J.'s celebrity, the cameras being in the courtroom, everyone involved with the trial, behind the scenes was sort of all of a sudden front and center. It was just a wild thing. And the fact that there are so many opinions that people have about whether or not he's guilty or innocent.
But it's so well done. You have to agree with that, yourself included, but it's so well done.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I have not seen it. I know from reading it that that's very good because
Why?
I was there. This is sort of the first time in my life where I have ever felt really embraced as an actor from a performance that I've given, and I'm one who is very likely to sort of pick everything apart and very self-critical, so I figure I should just let myself enjoy this and let people say nice things and enjoy being a part of something that is such a phenomenon.
You played a living person.
Yes.
Did you watch a lot of the trial tapes before you did the part?
I watched a lot of it before I did the part. I watched it every day before, like right up until they were about to yell action and rolling. I was watching her on my iPad, and I would just toss the thing under the desk in the courtroom prior.
You really had her down.
Oh, thank you.
What did you think of her?
I had a complicated view of her prior to learning everything I learned, and prior to playing her, I had the view that I think most people had, that she was a kind of ambitious, too tough for her own good, firecracker, short skirt wearing bitch, I think, is a lot of the words used to describe her. I came to know once I did any research that that's just, nothing could be further from the truth.
And you got to like her, met her. And...
Oh, I got to love her, playing her and reading about her, sort of devouring everything I could about her. And then when I met her, it just sort of pushed it right over the edge in terms of I couldn't love her more.
Director Ryan Murphy said about you, she just has a real faculty for being somebody else. If I said, Sarah, next year you're going to play Pope Francis, you'd say, okay.
Yeah, I don't know that I could pull that off. I like his confidence, but I'm not sure I could do that.
The season finale airs tomorrow night. Mm-hmm. What was it like filming? Did you enjoy it? Was it easy, tough?
It was tough. I mean, I think it's a big responsibility when you're playing a person who continues to walk the planet, and a person that people have a lot of personal feelings about. But mostly I wanted to get it right for Marcia herself. I feel like she was so vilified and never really taken seriously or given the respect that I think she so completely deserves. So it was very important to me to sort of reveal what I had learned about her. So it was a scary thing to do. But doing that last episode was, the finale was, we shot everything sequentially. So by the time we got to the end and we were doing that episode where the verdict comes in, we were all of us, Johnny, Sterling K. Brown, who plays Darden, and Courtney Vance, who plays Cochran, we were all just sort of looking at each other going, this is quite a ride to have,
Coming up, I'll ask Sarah about her dinner with Marcia Clark, and we'll play a clip of Marcia Clark reacting to Sarah's portrayal of her. Don't go away.
Uh-oh.
We're back with Sarah Paulson. She stars as Marcia Clark in the People vs. O.J. Simpson, the terrific series airing on FX. I'm so proud to be a part of it as the only one in it playing himself. The only one playing him.
Yeah.
At the time of the trial, sexism towards Marcia was never talked about.
No.
I did shows on this every night. We had panels. No one ever said that if Johnny Cochran were wearing a different tie, people would comment. No one talked about it then. Mm-mm. You surprised at that?
I am.
It was never discussed.
Although, as a woman myself, I certainly wasn't thinking about it in that way. I was 19, so I like to give myself a little bit of a break because I didn't know what it meant to be a person, much less a woman at 19.
Maybe it's because times have changed.
Times have changed somewhat, but I certainly think it was a very big intention by both the writers and Ryan as well to sort of have that piece of this story be told, because it was, as you said,
true.
It was true, and it was never really part of the conversation about the trial. So he wanted to put that front.
No one said Johnny Cochran shave.
No, and if they had, he would have told them what's what. So yeah.
Johnny was a good friend. It was sad. Mm-hmm. While on that subject, what's your take on the recent discussion about inequality in Hollywood?
Oh gosh, well, I certainly think it's true. I think all that can be done, or the way to begin it all, or any kind of change, is to have the kind of conversation. And as you said, this was not something that was really on the table back then, and it's certainly a very wonderful thing that there is now a platform for which people to have a real dialogue about it, because no change can come about unless people start talking.
You think it'll get better?
Well, I think it's always sort of getting incrementally better, but I certainly feel like we've got a long way to go. I don't feel like we've made that much progress,
I was told the other day there's only one area where women make more than men.
And?
Modeling.
Wow.
Women models get more than male models.
Wow. Not surprising. Shocking and yet not surprising. Yeah.
All right, we interviewed Marcia on the show recently. She said she was horrified when she first heard about the show, but the reaction, she has changed. She watches it, she loves it, and let's watch what she said about you.
That I can watch.
I understand you've warmed to it.
Yes, surprisingly, I didn't expect to. I didn't think I'd even be able to watch it, to be honest with you.
It's Sarah Paulson.
Sarah Paulson.
Is it eerie to watch someone playing you? What's it like to watch it?
Well, I love Sarah Paulson, and I've been a fan of hers for 1,000 years. There's nothing she does that isn't brilliant. So, of course, I knew this would be too, and it is. Nuanced and empathic, and she's amazing. I don't have enough words. But it's very difficult to watch someone be you, because especially in the context of this trial. So I know she's getting it right. I know she's really doing it. But because she does it so well, I'm re-experiencing all of the pain. I'm watching her experience what I experienced, because she shows you what I was feeling like on the inside. And that's something that I always wanted to remain hidden. So, you know, hard.
I paid her so much money to say all that. I paid her a real cold, hard cash. Yeah, it was a great compliment.
The show, of course, more than hints at a relationship between her and Chris Darden, and yet she will not discuss it.
No.
And everyone I've talked to said, if she won't discuss it, that means she did it. Why? It's easy to say we didn't.
Well, yes, I understand the point of that, but I also sort of feel like she probably is trying to have something sort of belong to her. You know, she and Chris, I think, were absolute trench mates and could not have survived the trial without one another. Beyond that, I don't really know. I have my opinions. Sterling Brown, who plays Darden, has his opinion, and we sort of had a nice mutual agreement about what we think happened, and that sort of informed some of our choices. But
that's your own opinion.
That's my own opinion.
And it's kept to yourself.
It's kept to myself, yeah.
You called Marcia to have dinner, or she
I
called?
emailed her. I was really sort of discouraged from reaching out to her in the beginning, which I think was wise, because, you know, we are telling Tubin's book. That is, we're not doing Marcia's book, we're not doing Darden's book, it's Tubin's book that the show is based on. So I thought it would probably be best for me to use that as my guideline and not sort of fall too far into my own sort of reverence for Marcia and be sort of blinded by some of that. So I was rightfully discouraged from meeting her, but when I did, it was one of the great experiences. It's always a little nerve-wracking to meet someone that you admire. We went to the Daily Grill in the Valley, which I think has been shuttered. I just drove by not long.
She said you hit it off right away.
We hit it off right away. We had some
Who was
tequila.
in first?
I was there early, which is rare for me, but I was just desperate to be on time and not be late. And I also wanted, and it was a good payoff for me, I wanted to watch her walk into the restaurant, which I did get to see. And I could tell by her walk, by her shoes, before she even came in the door that it was she.
How do you react to the public's appreciation of the show?
Well, as I said before, I feel it's sort of uncharted territory for me. You know, I'm on a show called American Horror Story, which has got a wonderful audience of very rabid fans, but it's a sort of unique program. It's not for everyone. So it's cultish. And so though I have been nominated for Emmys for my work on that show, and I do feel appreciated on it, this feels like such a broader, wider acceptance or celebration of the show and of my work on it, which is, let me tell you, it sure beats any other experience, which would be in the negative. So.
You going to be in any big movies?
Maybe.
Yeah, man, you're ripe for it right now.
I hope someone comes along and plucks me.
Next, we'll ask Sarah about the next season of American Horror Story, and we'll play a little game of If You Only Knew. Don't go away. We're back with Sarah Paulson. She's an incredible Marcia Clark in The People vs. O.J. Simpson, American Crime Story on FX. You'll be back in the next season of American Horror Story?
That's my hope.
Well, I'm told that.
Okay, well, I'm glad you've been told.
There are rumors that it will involve creepy children. Have you heard that?
I think that came from some comment, an audience question from Paley Fest that Ryan answered. I don't know if it involves creepy children. That'd be fine.
Okay, you play a villain in the last one.
I did. That was the first time I got to play a villain.
Now, most actors have told me they love playing evil people.
Much more fun because really there are no rules. You have absolutely no, it's boundary free. You can just go for it, any choice you make, as wild as it may be. Some of those things are true typically on Horror Story. It's a kind of operatic show where there really are no rules. You can do it. Also, the report is that Murphy wants to make the next installment the aftermath of Katrina. Yes. Well, you must be doing it if you know all about it. Well, I can neither confirm nor deny. What is all this secrecy? Well, it's just the way it works in Murphy Land until it's been announced. That's right. You can't say a thing. I cannot say a thing. Okay, we're going to play a quick game of You Only Knew. I just throw questions at you. Okay. First boy you ever kissed? Ethan Clary. Ethan Clary. Yeah. Where was this? In New York, in Brooklyn. Where'd you grow up? I grew up in Park Slope. Born in Tampa, Florida. Bensonhurst. Park Slope. Yeah. Yep. Whatever happened to Ethan Clark? Ethan just Facebook messaged me just the other day to say how much he's loving watching the O.J. Simpson thing. So. How old were you? I was 12. Is that too young to be kissing? No. I was 12. Actor or actress you dream of working with? Emma Thompson. Pet peeve? God, pet peeve.
What
I have
bugs
so, what bugs me are people who have no sense of humor.
Oh, I can't stand
I can't
it.
stand that.
And they're around.
And there are a lot of them around.
Best thing about working in Hollywood?
Just the sheer fact that I get to do it. I get to, you know, pay for my mortgage and buy a meal and take my mother out to dinner from my success as an actor.
What's the worst thing about working?
The waiting, the waiting to see if somebody, I have not in that stage in my career, nor have I necessarily been interested in it or even known how to sort of generate my own work. And so sometimes as an actor, you are often waiting for the phone to ring, and that's rough.
Any show you'd like to guest star on?
Oh, so many. Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Craziest fan encounter?
Oh, the craziest fan encounter I ever had was someone asking me to write one of what they deemed a rather iconic line that I had from season 2 of American Horror Story, which was, "I'm tough, but I'm no cookie." And she asked me to write it on a piece of paper, and then I saw her a couple of weeks later and she had it tattooed, my handwriting and that line, which I had scrawled like chicken scratch out of a car window because someone asked me to stop the car, and I did it very quickly. If I'd known she was going to put it permanently on her body, I probably would have worked on making it a little bit more legible.
Fan is short for fanatic. The last time you were starstruck?
Cher. I saw Cher in Canada. Cher makes me really starstruck.
Something that always makes you laugh?
Amanda Peet always makes me laugh.
Something that scares you?
Flying.
You don't like flying?
Metal tube, bunch of strangers.
I do it a lot,
wings.
but I'd never like
It's not my thing. Some engines strapped to some giant heavy thing that's hurtling at top speed across. It just doesn't make sense to
Do
me.
you think about it every time?
Every time I talk to the pilots before I go. I like as much information as possible.
Are you ever totally comfortable?
Never. Not in general, Larry. Just pretty much never.
What's your most cherished memory? You're so young to have memories.
Oh, my most cherished memory was probably the night the curtain went up the first time I was on Broadway.
What'd you play?
The first time I did it, I was understudying Amy Ryan in The Sisters Rosenzweig, which is a Wendy Wasserstein play, and I was 19 years old, and I was newly out of high school, and it was the first time I'd done a play where on Broadway at all, but where the curtain actually rose. And I'll never forget the temperature change between the stage and the audience. That the minute the curtain went up, this real waft of cold air and all this sort of rustling in the playbills moving. And I
How
remember,
often did you get to play it?
I did it for 2 weeks straight. Amy took a vacation to Paris that she had planned before the show had been announced to be closed, and there was nothing she could do to extricate herself from her Paris trip, so I got to go on.
Like theater?
I love it so much. The next greatest memory is probably doing The Glass Menagerie with Jessica Lange on Broadway in 2005.
Great play.
It was a really beautiful play to
You do Tennessee Williams.
Tennessee
it
Williams.
flows
It
out.
just, yeah, there's real poetry there.
Before we take a break, I'm told you do a great impression of Holly Hunter. Will you do Holly Hunter?
Larry, gosh, yeah, I mean, I'll do it right now. It's great. It's great. I love being on your show. It's great. Thank you. Everybody's laughing. It's so nice. I mean, if I had more time to prepare, it'd be better, but I think it's great.
Have you ever worked with her?
I haven't. I would love to. Although I fear that I look at her and go, "Hey, what's going on?"
Next, we will wrap things up with some fan questions for Sarah from social media, and she's going to ask me a question. I have no idea what it is. Don't click away. The People versus O.J. Simpson American Crime Story is going to wind up tomorrow night. I'm going to miss it. People are watching it like fanatic.
Yeah.
They watch it repeats. I mean, you recently tweeted your support for Hillary Clinton. How are you feeling about how things are going?
I feel good. I'm deciding to feel good. I think what happened a few weeks ago, and she had a great sweep of victories, and it made me feel a little bit more confident.
Concerned about Mr. Trump?
I am concerned about Mr. Trump, more just the fact that he's sort of gotten as far as he had. It started out as a kind of funny element to the campaign season, and then all of a sudden it became all too real. It's a little scary.
All right, we have some fan questions for you. At Nick Horror Story on Twitter, describe what you know about your American Horror Story Season 6 character in 3 words.
Absolutely nothing, dude.
At Only One Valerie on Twitter, you've said that Emma Thompson is your favorite actress. Have you met her?
I had a quick breeze by at the Golden Globes one year where she walked by me and I just said, "Oh God, it's Emma Thompson," and she looked at me like, she just...
What is special about her?
I think about the moment in Sense and Sensibility towards the end of the movie where Hugh Grant comes to the house and she's not expecting him, and she sort of falls back on the wall and grips it, and it was just the most, I mean, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. I think she's an incredibly alive, very just brilliant actress. Remains of the Day, Howard's End, it's just some of my favorite work because it's understated. She doesn't do a lot of look at me acting, and sometimes acting that is the most celebrated is acting that is the most acting. It's not always the best acting. People think, you know, crying, screaming, all that kind of stuff is a way to really show your mettle, but the truth of the matter is just having a conversation with a person in a realistic way where you are listening and responding is very difficult to do. And she does it so beautifully that I just would like to watch her do it in a scene where I get to say something
When you
too.
watch things like that, do you sometimes say, boy, I'd love to do that?
Yes, I watch it and just think, how is she doing it? It looks so effortless. She just seems like she's embodying something. And yeah.
Bobby Nelson on Facebook. In your opinion, which season of American Horror Story has been the strongest so far?
In my opinion, it's season 2, Asylum. It was a show, a season that was really about something. Took place in 1964 in an insane asylum. My character was incarcerated in a way that was completely unjust, and she had no recourse to extricate herself from the situation. So it was also just a character I felt very connected to and very passionate about. So I'm probably biased. I'm sure there have been other seasons that have been great, and I can't really tell.
Bobby also wants to know if you believe in God.
Jesus, Bobby. Gosh.
Well, Jesus.
Jesus.
Was his kid.
I have spiritual beliefs. I don't know. I know that when I was a child, I grew up with very kind of religious grandparents who were very much part of my daily life, and I think I had come to believe that God was a sort of flowing red bearded man with like 2 staffs on either side of him sitting in a large throne, and I don't know why I sort of conjured that, but I did. I don't necessarily believe that now, but I have a spiritual side of myself.
Magna Carta on Twitter. I love these.
I like how we're keeping
Can
a
you
theme.
tell us about your phone call tradition with Amanda Peet?
Yes, that started, I'm not quite sure how, but she likes to answer the phone by saying, Ghostbusters, what do you want? Like Annie Potts from Ghostbusters. And if I decide that it's not fully committed, or, fully committed, I just hang up on her. And then I call back and she does it again, but she's usually laughing so hard that she can't even get it out, and then I just keep hanging up until and then sometimes I let enough time go by where she's calmed down. And then
Have you worked with her?
She's my best friend in the world. We did a show together called Jack and Jill on the WB years and years and years ago in 1999, and we've been best friends ever since. And then we did a show called Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip that Aaron Sorkin created by, I think, 2007. So
What's next for Sarah?
Oh, God. Things I'm not allowed to talk about, Larry. It's so boring, I know. Why did I even come? Shouldn't even be here.
Why?
It's a funny world I live in. Things have not been confirmed. The fandom, as we were discussing before, they're quite rabid. They want everything. Ryan is giving it out as he sees fits, and so far he's given nothing, so I cannot do it. I know.
How about Ryan aside?
Ryan aside.
Any other things on the horizon? Are you looking at a script that intrigues you?
I am looking at a couple of things that intrigue me. What has intrigued me most lately are a couple of plays. I have a very limited window before, if I were to start season 6, I would be starting season 6 of Horror Story. So I'm trying to be mindful about what that next thing is. I was incredibly blessed last year to have done both of those shows, and particularly Marcia. And I want to have the next thing that I do really speak to me in a way that, like that did. Sometimes you end up doing something that then you're forever changed, and the work you end up seeking after that is sort of always going to have to be of a certain kind.
Do you like the discipline of theater?
I do like the discipline of theater. I also like the regimen, the sort of routine of it. I like knowing that every day at this time I will be at the theater an hour before half hour. I do my makeup, my hair, if I have that kind of thing. I do my warm-up on stage. Matinee days, the same thing. I like the consistency of it.
And it begins and ends.
I like the structure, I really do. And I also like the immediate audience reaction. It's a very weird thing to sort of work in a vacuum. I mean, I finished doing the OJ thing back in late October, early November, and it didn't come on until early February. So in that time, you sort of have no idea how it's being edited, how it's all going to come together, what the response is going to be. When you do a play, you walk out there and you either feel that you've got the audience with you, or you don't. You can feel when you lose them. It's a real energy thing, and I really get off on that.
And what makes Murphy special?
Everything makes him special. I think he has a real aptitude for seeing something in people, both actors, writers, that they don't even see in themselves. And his confidence in me his belief in me, his commitment, his loyalty to me has made me have a sort of deeper sense of all of that for myself, which is, I think, an incredible thing to have in a person who is your boss, your hero, your mentor.
Did you have a favorite cast member?
Well, I have a friendship with Jessica Lange that goes back, that way precedes Horror Story, because we did a Broadway play together, and she had been one of my favorite actresses as a younger person, and so that was a kind of amazing thing. But I really love working with Kathy Bates. We have a very, very funny...
She's a hoot.
She's a hoot, and we really have quite a kind of prickly, funny, pokey friendship that is based in great mutual respect and love. So that's been wonderful.
When you're into like Marcia Clark with changing your hair and all that thing, what was that like for you?
There's definitely a weird moment of vanity where you do, this is a business that sort of prides itself, or is sort of often you are celebrated for your beauty, sometimes more than even your acting talent. And that can be a very discouraging environment to be working in. So there's definitely a moment when I put that wig on where I thought, wow, this is something I'm not doing for, my own personal amusement. This is something that's going to be on national television that people are going to see. And as they're painting on under eye circles, and, I just thought this is rough. And then on the other side, you think this is an opportunity to let vanity not be part of my consciousness at all. And I can dive into this and really think about what this character, what this person is living with, breathing, what she's wanting, and my own thoughts and feelings and worries about. Being a woman in this business is rough. You are constantly thinking about what you look like and how it's shifting and changing, and to have that not even be part of it. No, and to not have that be part of the conversation is a very liberating thing as an actor, to not think about it. But it was definitely, I'm not going to lie, I had a moment of vanity where I thought, this is really rough. I look like I've got a chia pet on my head. It was scary.
Is this your hair?
Yeah, this is my hair, yeah.
Oh, you're supposed to ask me a question.
I'm going to ask you a question.
What is it?
If you could have a dinner party with 6 people.
6 people?
6 people, living or dead, half of whom you cannot have interviewed, who would be there?
Well, there'd be some dead people.
Some dead people, that's fine.
I take Lincoln. Christ. Freud.
Ooh, good one. Not Jung?
No, Freud.
Okay.
Got enough to cover with.
I get. I know it's hard because you really have interviewed almost everyone on the planet.
I can't think of anyone.
I know.
Frank Lloyd Wright.
Frank Lloyd Wright is a very good one. These are very interesting.
Olivier.
Wow, you're doing very well at this.
They're all dead.
Yeah, but that's okay.
And the one living would be Castro.
Wow. So that you never did.
Together.
Yeah. That's a fantastic one. Next on Larry King Now.
I want to thank Sarah Paulson. The season finale of The People. A good question. The People versus O.J. Simpson airs tomorrow night on FX. And remember, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things. And I'll see you next time.